Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Maryland.
Thank you kindly, Mr. Chairman. Ms. McCord, our colleagues invoked the fact that the SPLC had an informant in a white nationalist group at the infamous Unite the Right rally in August of 2017 in Charlottesville as some kind of indictment of the SPLC. But didn't that SPLC informant create the information that allowed the SPLC to send 3 different FBI field offices a 45-page memorandum warning of planned violence and the potential for violence at this extremist confab?
That is the facts that have been represented in court.
Mr. Fair, is it true that the SPLC sent a memo based on that informant's work to 3 different FBI field offices?
Yes, it is.
Okay. The chairman spoke with some indignation about the fact that there were $3 million or $4 million spent giving to undercover informants to try to expose the work of the extremist groups, as in Charlottesville in 2017, where Heather Heyer was killed by a fanatic racist. I'm just curious how the members of the panel feel about this proposed $1.776 billion political slush fund set up for the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, and other convicted criminals and rioters from January 6th. Do you think that that fund should be shut down and any other similar fund, Mr. Fair?
Yeah,
yes or no?
Yes, I do.
Dr. King, do you agree that that should be shut down?
I will not speak on whether that particular fund should be shut down.
Or any such fund.
I think some of these slush funds that SPLC is using.
Okay, but my question is about the one proposed by Todd Blanche. It's a yes or no?
I will not answer on it.
Okay.
I think
Mr.
they
Banger,
need to stop
do you
killing
think
the babies and cutting the penises off. And so any slush fund is
I have limited time. We can
money in that is the problem.
Mr. Banger, do you believe that the $1.776 billion political slush fund should be shut down and any similar fund?
I think that's a question for Congress to answer.
Okay, and Professor McCord, what do you think? Should that political slush fund be shut down?
Yes, it should.
And any similar slush fund?
Yes, it should.
Okay. So the conceit of the prosecution, this whole hearing, the whole attack on the SPLC is that there's some contradiction between fighting against extremist hate and racism for decades and then sending people undercover as informants to find out what these groups are doing. Do you agree that there's a contradiction, Professor McCord?
I agree that it is a very useful law enforcement tool to use informants and cooperators to learn more, not just about hate groups and potential domestic violent extremism, but also as a tool to dismantle drug trafficking groups and human trafficking groups.
So if the FBI sent someone undercover to expose a mafia organization, narco traffickers, international human traffickers, that wouldn't mean that the FBI is supporting those groups, would it?
That's correct.
Okay. As a matter of law, and as a matter of fact, can you have a criminal fraud if there are no victims of the fraud?
To have a criminal fraud, you have to have made statements and fraudulently to induce some activity. And if it did not induce some sort of activity, like a gift or donation, then there is no fraud.
Well, what I don't understand is that suddenly, out of the blue, there's a claim that the Southern Poverty Law Center is engaged in fraud because it's been extremely effective. I wish it had been even more effective, for example, in stopping the Oklahoma City bombing, where nearly 200 people were killed in an act of fanatical white nationalism. But it's been quite effective. I don't know of any group that's been more effective, other than potentially the FBI itself, in stopping extremist white violence. Well, do you believe that it is an act of fraud when the donors to the group understand perfectly well that people are being sent undercover to try to get information on what these groups are doing?
If donors were not defrauded, and no donors have come forward, to my knowledge, suggesting that they were unaware of what the SPLC was doing, that program has been known for a long time, and so that creates a problem.
I mean, it just seems to me amazing to be alleging a fraud when there are no victims. When I just looked up the Trump University case, there were hundreds and hundreds of people coming forward screaming to high heaven about how they'd been ripped off and exploited by this fake university, and they won $25 million.
So
Or-
do you
but-
pay the same people to do the bomb and then go and comfort the people from being bombed? You pay the same people to do both jobs? That's kind of fraud to me. That's weird and chaotic and confusing.
Well, Dr. King, I don't think there's any allegation that anybody who was working with the Southern Poverty Law Center bombed anyone. Do you have information to that effect? Because
I don't personally, but outside agitators did bomb our house in '63 and then ran back and took off the Ku Klux Klan sheets and put on police things and ran up in the yard.
Well,
And
that's
it was
a
the
statement.
same people. It was crazy.
I'm with you, and that's a statement about the racism of that police force working with the Ku Klux
Hey,
Klan.
y'all pay both of them to do the double jobs. SPLC does. Really, you hire them to do the bombing, then you
you're
hire them
asserting
to
a lot
fix
of
the
things
bombing. That's weird.
Dr. King, you're asserting a lot of things under oath, and you haven't brought the evidence with you. So I think
I'll
you
get
can-
some for you.
Okay, please, bring us the evidence, and I'll yield back to you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll get